Hello, this is my basic impromptu lesson for you. And so I want you to kind of take some notes. Now, when we're going to be taking these notes, I want you to do this in two sections. The first section, I want you to lay out the structure, okay? In the second section, I want you to lay out the words, but also I want you to write definitions next to those words. So, I'm here, and the very first thing that I wanted to say is we start off with a teaser. So write that down as a teaser. Okay, that's in the structure. Now put below that the teaser. Write that again at the bottom of the paper so you can do the definition of the teaser. So go halfway down. There you go. Write teaser again. Okay, teaser as defined in that second area. You want to say this is an attention-getting device designed specifically to captivate your audience. Now, in impromptu, you can either have it be a shared example, something that's happened, in history that's shared that people know, or you can have a personal story. The trend right now is leaning towards shared examples, but whatever.
As opposed to the anecdotal.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we have our thesis. Write that down. Okay. And then the definition, as defined, the thesis is a one-sentence summary of your entire speech. Okay, next up we have preview. Right. Okay, preview's next. And in the preview, that is, as defined, a device designed to highlight the main points of our speech. And in impromptu, we have a 2x2 structure. So it's preview 1, 2. You can be writing below the word preview when you're doing the structure.
So 1 and then 2.
2, exactly, okay? Then we have a transition is next. Just write that down. And then the definition, as defined, a transition is one distinct sentence designed to bring us from one major area of the speech to another. Now, in forensic speech and debate, it's a game of inches, and so they really are strict on these, on what we're doing here with this structure. So you got to make sure you got it. Okay. So we've got our transition, and then we go on to point 1. Okay. And below point 1, you have A, B. So the point 1 is the header for that point. So let's say examining this through 2 political figures, and it's that brief, okay? And then A, you would say Barack Obama. B, you'd say George Washington, for example, okay? And so you have that. And then you say, but first, Barack Obama. We call that an internal preview.
So you establish both of them.
Right. So you say, so we're going to bring us to our first point, which can be illustrated through politicians. The 2 politicians we're going to be taking a look at are Barack Obama and George Washington. But first, Barack Obama. Okay, so that is like a kind of the lingo that we have, this, but first, this. Okay. So now that you've got that, you give your 2 points, then you have a transition. Okay. We already know the definition of transition, and this goes to point 2. All right, so Barack Obama. Okay, so that is like a kind of the lingo that we have, this, but first, this. Okay, so now that you've got that, you give your 2 points, then you have a transition. Okay, we already know the definition of transition, and this goes to point 2. All right, so, then you have that header right there. Okay, and then you have the 2 A, B below that, so write that.
So we have transition 1.
Okay, and then, yes, A, B,
and then
transition, yep, transition. You probably have to move that to the top again.
Yeah.
Transition point 2.
Oh, okay, cool, I get it. And then AB for point 2.
And then AB for point 2. And then we go transition. I'm sorry, instead of transition, at the end, we do restate thesis. Okay? So now, in forensics, your thesis is your quotation plus, so you want to define this in the definitions, thesis equals quotation plus interpretation. So the quotation plus whether or not you agree with that quotation. All right?
So it's quotation plus
Interpretation.
interpretation.
Okay, so you restate your thesis. So today we've examined the quotation blank, and I agree with that quotation.
Okay.
And we did this by first taking a look at the example of presidents. Before that, and we looked at Barack Obama and George Washington. Before then, taking a look at the examples of entertainers, and we looked at Justin Bieber and Adele. Okay, so the next time, blah blah blah. Okay, so you end up having your restate your thesis, your review. That's what I just did, was a review. And what the review, it's just like the preview, where you restate the main points that you just said. That's part of the structure. Okay? And then finally you revisit your teaser at the end.
That's my last part of the structure.
So put review 1, 2, and then revisit teaser. So again, in recap, it's teaser, thesis, preview, 1, 2, transition, point 1, AB, transition, point 2, AB, restate thesis, review, 1, 2, and revisit teaser. Okay? The last thing I'm going to tell you.
Restate thesis, you use your quotation and your interpretation.
Yes, yes. And the last thing I'm going to tell you about this is that when you ever use the word, never use the word quote, okay? Quote is a verb. It's an action word. So it's like, and he said, quote, blah, 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 okay? Quotation is a noun. It's something that someone said. Don't forget that.